Must love it when a plan comes together, Jerry.
Yeah, and it was that, Mark. We've had a really good. I said to you before the game, we've had a really good week of training. We knew our game plan early on. We discussed it as a staff, and we took things back to basics a little bit in training. So on Tuesday we did lots of defending in around our 18-yard box in 1v1s and 2v2s, and then overloaded them with some 4v2s. Lots of balls going in. We knew that Concord would probably plant it on us, and of course you turn up and the conditions are horrific for football today, and you have to manage that as well. So the game plan worked Thursday night in training. We knew what we wanted to do as well, and then coming into the game we did. Obviously we've got the wind in our backs in the first half. We managed to get a goal after putting them under all sorts of pressure, and we know then we have to protect that. So that takes a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and a lot of thinking as well. So we had to give them some clear messages at half time as well.
It must be sort of conditions where you can't really exactly train the players to it. They've just got to use their own minds. I think City used them far better than Concord, where a lot of wasteful balls went forward out of play, whereas City's were better with the wind behind them.
Well, we were forcing those mistakes, so it wasn't to regain possession today. It was more about, you press sometimes to win the ball back, but you also press to force a mistake and make play predictable. So as you've seen, our line was probably the highest line you'll see for a very long time, because they knew the wind was so strong. Any ball over the top, which they were playing, was going to run through to Ryan or go out for goal kicks. To do that also, you've got to put good pressure on the ball up the pitch. So we went to obviously a 3-4-3, and our front three worked tirelessly across the back. At times we want our wing backs to come out and engage their full backs. We never did that today. We stayed back in as a solid five, and those three worked across their back four. We did the work on Thursday on that. So we did actually. We knew whether the conditions were going to be like this or not in the weather, we knew that was going to be the same game plan. And what the boys had done at half-time, we said, look, keep that ridiculously high line, whether it's a free kick or whether it's open play. And you three boys continue to put pressure. And they've carried it out to a T. And I've got to say, Bath City can play a couple of ways. And people know us as a good footballing team. We didn't quite get that going at home last week. We're all disappointed with that performance. But I've got a group of players that react. And it comes off the back of a really good week, a hard-working week. And today, I thought we deservedly get the 3 points.
The communication key as well in conditions like that, about keeping the high line. Andy Watkins commented on it on co-commentary that you could hear Dan Ball clearly always screaming at the defence to stay up.
Yeah, because it takes a leader or a couple of leaders in that back four. Because if you get one off the shape or one a little bit deeper and they time their run, then you've had it. So yeah, it's important. You're starting position, and then you've got to be ever so brave as well, because where they were and how high it was, I said you're going to feel uncomfortable, and it almost looked uncomfortable at times. You thought, wow, there's so much space to go in, but if you don't drop until that ball's literally just about to be struck, that's the key to it. If your weight's going forwards and they go in behind, that's when you get done. So they lagged off at the right times. Ryan's starting position was superb. A special mention for him in the goal as well, because I said to him at half time, I said, you're going to be almost like a rugby player taking a conversion every single time you kick that ball from your goal line, because you need to get your technique. And you could see he took his time, because we knew he'd have to take his time. He wouldn't be rushed, because their goalkeeper did the same first half. And we said it's important you get your technique right. And that was a big part of our game plan. His kicking was superb. He was reaching well over the halfway line, where first half their keeper was finding it difficult to get there. And it means we can then try and win a flick on. It wasn't about playing through central midfield areas today. Young Noah Chilvers and Frank in there as a two. We never asked them to come out. They screened the back five, if you like, or a back three at times. Didn't really play any possession through the middle of the park, but what we did, we played some control balls down the sides, played some control balls over the top. Adam Mann, Tom Smith, Ross Stern, and then young Vince, when he goes on and plays in that role, were terrific, because we were lively on the counter-attack.
Ross Stern has the honour of scoring the 200th goal during your reign as manager, and great for him being recalled into the starting lineup as well. Yeah,
he deserves it. He's been chomping at the bit. We haven't quite had the right time to put him in. His fitness hasn't quite been where he wants it to be. He's been working ever so hard in training, does his extras as well, and he deserves his opportunity. We did a lot of work with him in the week and told him early that he'd be playing. Ryan Brunt had a slight hamstring strain anyway. Not a strain, it's just stiffness really. He should be okay for Tuesday. So we were always had it intention that I was going to go with those three. I wanted lots of legs in the front three today, a little bit different. We watched back the Havant game. We watched back the Dulwich game, looking at our best practice, going back and revisiting stuff that we've done ever so well this season, because playing a game of football is really difficult, and you've always got an opposition who want to beat you, believe it or not. So when you lose a game, there's always a reason why. And all we've done is we've had a couple of bad weeks, 2 or 3 bad weeks, which I spoke about. Last week was really disappointing because it's a home game. We lose 3-0 and we don't have a shot on goal. Today's different. We have opportunities and we look resolute as well. And I said to the boys there, we've all got in a group as a staff, because they've worked hard, all my staff this week as well, and they've had me demanding off them this week. I've demanded off every single one of those staff to come back with bits for me and do bits for me, and that's important. And now it can be the springboard. We've got another one ever so quick Tuesday. The problem is our bodies. Ross looks like I don't know. Listen, we're going to have to look at it. It looks like his knee's jolted a little bit there, so he's upset some ligament damage possibly in it. Pleased for him firstly getting his goal and the way he worked, but really disappointed. Sod's law that he goes and does that. So again, we're going to have to count the bodies, and like I said, I'm trying to do some business before Tuesday if I can. If not, it'll be for Saturday.
It's going to be a different game on the 3G on Tuesday against a Maidstone side who went down to 9 men today and lost at Chippenham, so they'll be determined to put it right. And it was also the game at home where it started our really fine form in the league.
That was a catapult, wasn't it, when we drew with them? We got that equaliser, and deservedly in that game. I thought the performance levels was great. But no, listen, John and Hakan Harettin down there, I know them both really well. Good football people, been around a long time. They've built a good squad in there. They probably want to be doing better than they are, probably. But no, listen, we've got to go there full of confidence. It's going to be a very tough game. The 3G is different. We know that. Totally different to what it had been today. Hopefully the wind drops down in the week, because there's nothing worse than playing in wind. I don't mind a bit of rain because that will make the pitch zippy down there. But no, listen, we'll have to watch their game back against Chippenham. If you say they've gone down to 9, that might affect things a little bit. Obviously they'll be able to play, won't they, on Tuesday? So there's no suspension for that. So we'll look back on some of their games, come up with a game plan, and the problem is you won't have a training session to go in between it. That's the frustration as a part-time manager, part-time team. But we'll do our homework and we'll set them up, and hopefully we can go there and get a positive result.
Well done for today.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers, mate.